You heard the man. Take the runway. Avon storing vehicles and supplies on the airfield. They've all got to go. Let this one easy. More Army below deck. Be on the outlook.
And in future, in this context, without a process of constitutional oversight, it is an act of political intimidation.
Hey, plane on the runway. Don't let it take off. Oh, anything that moves and anything that doesn't. Anything Avon can use against us. Keep it up. Don't leave him with anything. Come on. Total decimation.
This is not just one man fight.
The runway's clear. We need to wipe him out. Okay, we have the airfield. Oh, the IA better pay us for this. Come on! Take the barrage to the safe house and don't let them slow you down. Move and shoot! Get out of there!
And that is precisely why these impeachment efforts are not disorganized or reactionary. They are designed to balance what the public life itself, to strip him of his right to run, to speak, to assemble, to protect himself without manufacturing. And the most important part, every time the American people go back to the true Russian guts, the level back, they do strength. While this is flooded too closely to the mountains of the hard.
You're almost home. Just get past those guys and you're there. Blow them up or blow on by. Come on! Okay.
Hold on.
Avon wanted that ATV and he wanted that airfield. This is a big win for us.
We'll time to celebrate. Maybe everyone's close to go to days later than before. Many would want
Another court room is activated, another lawsuit is filed, another judge is elected. These political authorities are never trusted by the press. These are just it's an accident that Donald Trump is facing more simultaneous legal attacks than any American presidential candidate in modern history. And yet not one of his accusers is facing a single consequence for the lies and failures that came before. This is where the entire narrative falls apart. Because if the goal were truly justice, if the motivation were truly law and order, then the rules would apply in both directions. But they never do. Hunter Biden can lie on federal gun forms, peddle foreign influence, and fail to pay taxes for years. And he gets a sweetheart deal that collapses only when the corruption becomes too obvious to hide. Hillary Clinton can delete 30,000 subpoenaed emails and get gets nothing but applause on the late-night circuit. But Donald Trump questions election integrity or declassifies documents under his authority as president. And suddenly we are told he must be impeached to save the republic. So the question becomes, what are they really afraid of? And the answer is simple. They are afraid that Trump is not just surviving their attacks, he is gaining strength because of them. They fear that every courtroom appearance, every legal ambush, every congressional witch hunt is no longer eroding his support. It is galvanizing it. And that's why this impeachment effort is not just another partisan movement. It's a final warning, a signal, not just to Trump, but to everyone watching, that if you dare to defy this system, this is what happens.
Yep.
They want Trump politically exiled. They want his base demoralized. They want future outsiders too terrified to even try. Because what Trump threatens is not just an election result. He threatens the entire machinery. He threatens the consultants who profit from managed defeat. He threatens the media who depend on access over accuracy. He threatens the bureaucrats whose real power comes from staying hidden, unaccountable, embedded in agencies most Americans couldn't even name. If Trump wins again, it's not just the White House they lose. It's the illusion that they were ever in control for the right reasons. It's the myth that their version of progress has public consent. It's the mask of neutrality worn by journalists, judges, generals, and professors who have long since chosen a side and can no longer pretend otherwise. They know it. That is why they must act now. Why every lever of institutional power, from prosecutors in Georgia to special counsels in Washington, is being deployed in the same direction, with the same urgency, under the same pretense. Because time is running out, the public is waking up, and the populist wave they thought they crushed in 2016 is stronger than ever, precisely because of their overreach. Here's the most devastating part. They can't stop, because if they let up for even a moment, they know what comes next. Trump wins, and then the investigation turns on them. If the goal was to break Trump, they failed. If the aim was to divide his supporters, they've done the opposite. Because with every raid, every indictment, and now another impeachment attempt, the American people see exactly what's happening, and they're not buying it. In fact, they're doing the one thing the elites never expected. They're getting louder. The establishment thought they could steer him into silence. They thought they could indict him into irrelevance. But what they've actually done is turned him into something far more powerful. A symbol not just of resistance, but
Hey, how can I help?
a man who,
You got it.
everything, is still standing, still fighting, and still saying the things millions of Americans feel that are no longer allowed to say. You don't have to love Trump to see what's going on here. You just have to be paying attention. Because if this campaign to crush him succeeds, the message is crystal clear that elections are meaningless if the results offend the ruling class. That dissent will be punished, not debated. That power no longer belongs to the voter, but to those who claim to protect democracy by destroying anyone who challenges it. This isn't just about Trump anymore. It's about whether ordinary Americans, working people, forgotten communities, parents, veterans, taxpayers, still have a voice in their own country. And every time they go after it, more people realize that they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. That's why the backlash is growing. On Truth Social, at town halls, across kitchen tables, what you're seeing is not a cult of personality. You're seeing a populist wave that refuses to die. A movement that was never about one man, but about the millions behind him who are sick of being ignored,
Us, the
lied
people.
to, and treated like second-class citizens in their own country.
Now,
They thought another impeachment would weaken him.
Yep.
Instead, it's exposed him.
Yep.
Because people are now asking the right question. Why is Trump the only politician being prosecuted for questioning an election?
Yep.
Why are parents being labeled extremists for speaking at school board meetings?
Yep.
Why are conservatives being censored for saying things that were mainstream 5 years ago?
Yep.
And the answer is simple. Because the regime fears opposition, not because it's violent, but because it's popular. Because this movement is bigger than one man. And it terrifies them that he might actually finish what he started.
Yep.
It terrifies them that 2016 wasn't a fluke,
Yep.
but a preview.
Yeah,
It
preview.
terrifies them that millions of Americans, after everything, are still standing with him, louder, more resolved than ever before.
Yep.
They thought they could demoralize his base, but what they created was a movement forged in adversity, refined by betrayal, and hardened by truth. They created an electorate that no longer trusts the narratives, no longer buys the excuses, and no longer believes that the system is neutral, and that distrust is not dangerous, it is earned. Because a republic cannot survive when the law is used as a weapon instead of a shield. And when Trump wins, it doesn't just mean they lose the White House. It means the entire machine, the media spin, the bureaucratic rot, the censorship complex begins to unravel. It means the public regains control over its own government. It means accountability for those who believe they were above the Constitution itself. This isn't just political anymore. It's personal. The people who stood by quietly for decades are standing up. The people who were told to shut up and sit down are speaking with thunder. And the people who were mocked as deplorable are now the ones holding the line.
Yeah.
They think they're silencing. What they're really doing is confirming everything he warned us about.
Yeah.
Now it's too late.
Yeah.
The system has been exposed. And if
Yeah.
next, it's because they still don't understand who they're dealing with.
They can never understand who they're dealing with. Cause they gotta get this shit. And we gonna get to their ass.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see all of you. With President Trump as Commander-in-Chief,
Man, we
the
can't
world
lose.
is a much safer place. After decades in the rest of the free world. The mission, which will go down in the history books,
What's going on? It's Jimmy here. So it's official. President Donald Trump's quote, big, beautiful bill, has passed. That's the actual name of the bill. And I'm going to give you the details of it in this video. I'll actually let you hear it and see it in this video. We'll go over what's in the bill, including $2,200 checks for families, $6,000 what they call bonus for seniors. We'll go over the details of that. And the $1,000 Trump savings accounts. Also the largest tax reduction in history. That's the direct words from Republicans. As well as, well, there's a lot of different things in the bill. And we're going to go over it all right here now in this video. So let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. We are live right now here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Don't forget to hit that like button here for me and subscribe right now here if you haven't yet. Help me reach 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for joining in. And yes, so yes, it is now past the House, past the Senate. Take a look at what happened.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed in the House. We say it appears because until it is official, we cannot say that it has, but it certainly looks like it indeed has, Trey.
Yeah, and he had to put the deadline on it. Senator, how many times have you been on running out of money watch? We have these little countdown clocks, government shutdown. The most predictable thing in the world is the calendar. But every year they need a deadline, either Christmas or a holiday. So he had to impose a deadline. It just happened to coincide with our 249th birthday. The nays are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
With an objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So this has now passed the House and the Senate. This originally passed the House, went to the Senate where they made changes. I'll give you the changes here right now, actually, in a second. And then went back to the House where they had to then approve the changes. And now President Donald Trump will sign it. He undoubtedly will sign it. And so let's go over the changes here and take a look. Yeah, you can see directly here from the White House, history made. The one big beautiful bill is on its way to President Donald Trump. It said President Trump's one big beautiful bill delivers on common sense agenda that nearly 80 million Americans voted for. The largest middle class tax cut in history, which was the largest thing in the bill. That was the middle class tax cut was the largest paid for in the bill. Permanent border security, massive military funding, and restoring fiscal sanity. Live updates. House passes GOP mega bill, sends it to Trump desk. Democratic leader King Jeffries delays final vote with a marathon speech. Democrats were not happy because you can see some headlines here how millions of people could or will lose health insurance if Trump's tax bill becomes law when President Donald Trump signs it, talking about Medicaid, because Medicaid will kick off millions of Americans with this bill as $880 billion in federal Medicaid cuts will be cut to Medicaid, and work requirements is the main way that they will make this happen. And this is going to be cut. This is now passed into law, and we'll go over the details here as it's now passed by the Trump's big beautiful bill. So there's just major changes here. So here's some of the details. Permanent extensions of the 2017 tax cuts, which basically lowers the tax brackets for all Americans. So there's some good and there's some bad in this bill, and we'll go over. It depends on who you are, and it depends on how you look at all these things. But one thing is that lower taxes for Americans is a good thing. So this is a good thing. Pretty much almost everybody will agree with this one, is that lower taxes for every single tax bracket, whether it's the low tax brackets, the middle tax brackets, or the high tax brackets, is a good thing. Lower taxes for any American is a good thing. So whether you're Democrat, Republican, or anybody, lower taxes is a good thing. New deductions for tips, overtime, and auto loan interest up to $10,000. I believe it's for American-made cars only. All these are pretty much good things as well. These won't affect everybody, but less taxes, again, a good thing. Again, there's going to be a lot of things in this bill that will not affect everything, but will lead to less taxes for millions of Americans. So the Trump's promises on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime did go through, and a $10,000 interest deduction on auto loans if the car is made in America is also a big one. Now, new $2,200 for American families for the child tax credits and also adoption credits is a big one here. So that was increased here. Let me bring up the tab that I have here on that one. Yeah, so the child tax credits, most people are at least somewhat know about this. If you have children, this is a good way to help with expenses, food, clothing, or rent. they have now increased this with up to $1,600 of that refundable, which means eligible families can receive a portion of the credit as a refund, even if they owe no federal income tax, which is basically a check back. So again, this is basically putting checks back into American families, kids, and more. The bill boosts the child tax credit up to $2,200 and would rise every year past this for inflation, which is a good thing as well, helping millions and millions of children across the nation, and studies have proven that this helps childhood poverty. It does not change the refundable portion of the credit, which is set at $1,600. That will not increase due to inflation, but $2,200 right now, and refundable portion of $1,600, which is both good news here for families and children. And studies have shown that this does reduce childhood poverty, so some good news there as well. The $1,000 creation of MAGA accounts, the name Make America Great accounts, also known as Trump savings accounts, for tax advantage savings. Also, the $1,000 Trump, what they're called baby bonuses, the Trump savings accounts will go into effect here as well. We'll be covering all these here more in future videos, more details on all this stuff. So there is a lot of good things in this video, or in this bill, but there's also some things that some people aren't too happy about here as well. We'll cover here in a moment. Okay, briefly, I mentioned this here on the last video, but the United States has filed a False Claim Act on complaints against 3 national health insurance companies and 3 brokers alleging against unlawful kickbacks and discrimination against disabled Americans. So if you or any loved ones are on Medicare, Medicare Advantage, or any Medicare services, this is why I recommend Chapter Medicare. Chapter Medicare was actually founded because their parents got scammed and they're trying to change the system. And they actually have a proprietary system where they can scan through every Medicare, Medicare Advantage, or Medicare provider in the entire country to find you or your loved ones the best plan for you, or save you tons of money. And on average, they actually save people that use their services, which is completely free, about
You got 15 minutes of straight up bullshit trying to sell somebody some shit. I don't want to hear that shit, man. I want to hear more about what's going on.
$12,000 here. So, yes, they're on at a $6,000 senior bonus here. That is included here. I'll go over more details here in the previous video here. That is included here in this as well. That did make it into the final bill. So there is the $6,000 senior bonus here. Also the $2,200 child tax credit, as well as the $1,000 Trump savings account, the largest the largest tax cuts for the middle class, what they call it. But you also have things like the Medicaid and SNAP cuts to help pay for this bill. So you have some good things and some bad things depending on who's looking at it here. Now, some things that people are not happy about. Nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid.
Why they ain't happy about that? Why they ain't happy about that? They want to snap. They cutting it because they got people on that shit that shouldn't be on it.
Medicaid funding for gender transition procedures for minors, expanded access to health savings accounts. So you can see the headline here: how millions of people can lose health insurance if Trump's tax bill becomes law.
Nope. Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Under the Republican plan, states will need to verify a person's income check to Medicaid every 6 months. And able-bodied will have to work or go to school. Most covered losses are expected to come from the GOP's work requirement. People aged 19 to 64 will be required to go to work, volunteer, or go to school for 80 hours per month in order to qualify for Medicaid under the new law. They'll be exempted if they're disabled, pregnant, or parent a children who is 14 or younger. But they're going to try to even, I think, we'll have to see here. They're going to try to, the whole disabled thing. They're going to try to make it only for very disabled people. I mean, that's just my inkling. But we'll see. We'll see on that. I'll keep you up to date here. It can encourage people who don't value Medicaid coverage not to sign up for it, and that saves the government money. The Republicans just want more people to work. The writing's on the wall if you haven't seen it.
A lot of people that got that free shit acting like they hurt, acting like they this, acting like they that. That shit over with.
You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Republicans want more people to work. The writing is on the wall. In some cases, people will lose coverage even if they are working. They will fall victim to bureaucratic errors, over the forms, and trouble getting all the documents, like proof of employment, tax forms, etc. Now, they're saying these Medicaid policies will not go into effect until the end of next year. So basically, a year and a few months from now, the end of 2026. So right after the midterms, So Republicans are very tactical about this, and they want to go get the midterms over, and then these are going to go into effect. You guys can let me know your thoughts. But we are seeing a lot of details that says up to 11.8 million Americans will lose Medicaid coverage over the next decade. We also have a big increase in the standard deduction, as well as a big increase in ICE funding for ICE. I believe it's actually one of, if not the biggest, government funded government agencies now, which is huge. In fact, ICE now has a bigger budget than Israel's defense budget per year. Wow. So I will keep you up to date here with all this going forward here as we sift through all the changes and everything happening on a daily basis. So make sure to share this video with everything that, with anybody that needs to hear this information. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future updates and everything happening that you need to know about. Click the bell icon so you get notifications. Click here to see who is eligible for the $6,000 in Trump's big bill and more details on everything in it. Click here to see the Fed and Trump's major announcement they just made. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
President Trump answering more questions.
To help local workers. LA City Council passed a proposal to increase the minimum wage for hotel and airport workers. The main goal of the proposal is for the minimum wage to reach $30 an hour by 2028, just in time for the Olympic